Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today, I was all prepared to talk about what a chaotic day it was going to be here at Creekside Nursery. We have a million different things going on today, and I was going to bring you along for the ride. So 7:45 in the morning, Brenna and I were headed up to production so that we could begin the Creekside craziness, and had another little surprise waiting on us that we did not know. Nobody knew that it happened yesterday. Sit here at the Signature Garden. Y'all, we can't make this stuff up. Here you go. If you can't tell, we had a massive oak come down, and while it came down, it took about three or four more tops of trees out with it. So this is at the back end of the Signature Garden. And y'all, I will have to say, as awful and as terrible as this looks and what a huge mess it's going to be to clean up, it is an absolute miracle. Y'all, not one single plant was taken out with this tree. This is an oak tree. Like, to give you just reference, I'm standing here, you know, I'm 5'2", 5'3". There you go. Here is the top of the tree. But not one plant that I can tell was taken out or affected by this. It's crazy. And here comes the first round of the other Creekside mess today. But let me show you this tree. Let me explain why it came down, and don't know what we're going to do, but we'll figure it out. The only way to get back to here is up through the mess. The closest tree that came to be taken out is the Coosa dogwood right here. But when I tell you the tree missed it by inches, like literal inches, it missed it. So come on, let's go around here. I hope y'all like fun and exciting stuff, because this is what today's video is going to be all about. It is going to be absolute madness. So here we go. This is the oak tree. And when it came down, it took out a tulip poplar. The tulip poplar was actually like a split tree. Let's see if my finger can find it. I think it's this one right here. And so it took out that. It took out part of it took down a whole nother poplar tree in here. So there's this. Look, the North Poles. Like, literally, we have a little branch hitting the North Poles, and that is it. So coming over here, the limelights, we have a couple of little branches on it. As you can tell, I haven't pruned my limelights yet, so that's okay. You know, did a little natural selection pruning for me. And even this big piece right here, this was, I think, the top of one of the split poplar. Even it didn't land in the middle, it just landed on the side, which is totally fine. It took out the light colored where Brenna is. That is a poplar, so you can see that when the oak tree came down, it took down that as well. Yeah, that arm right there is part of the oak tree, so that's a leaner. That'll come out. This is part of the oak tree as well, so it's all hung up in here. So we'll have to get all of that out. But look at the size of this tree, y'all. It is insane, absolutely insane. It was on the other side of the creek. I can't even tell you, like, diameter wise, that's probably from tip to tip, 15 feet at least. And then you can see where it actually split down here at the bottom. So I do not know how we're going to get this out, simply because of the sheer size and weight of this oak tree. But there you go, right there. So why did this happen? So as most of you know, I grew up on this property. My parents live right next door to us. So I grew up here. I was born here. My parents have been here since 1977. And so Daddy is quite the history buff. He remembers everything. And if you were in the South, grew up in the South in the late 80s, you remember Hurricane Hugo. So Daddy said that this oak, during Hurricane Hugo, it got like pushed with the wind and the amount of water that came through. So it was leaning from Hurricane Hugo back in 1989. It was propped up against one of these poplar trees. And of course, over the past, do the math, I don't know, whatever, it's too early for me. And so those number of years, all the trees grow, the oak tree grows, blah, 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 blah. Oak, really heavy, right? And so last night, yesterday afternoon, so yesterday was quite warm. It was in the like low mid 80s. And then this morning it's quite chilly. So we had a cold front come through and it had a bunch of wind. No rain at all, just wind. So a ton of wind came through, and this happened sometime last night because we came through here 5, 6 o'clock last night and everything was fine. So somewhere in the middle of the night, there was a giant earthquake when this tree fell. And like I said, Jerry completely missed it when he was going up to Annex. And so we're going to put a pin in this right now because we've got other things that we have got to take care of. So I think we're going to have lots of chips and firewood in our future because poor Jackson yesterday did such an amazing job. He came through here and laid down, this is pine bark chips or pine chips. My daddy has a wood chipper, and so he was chipping some of the wood that he wasn't using. He's a woodworker, he has a sawmill, all the things. And so Jackson came through and did a fabulous job cleaning this up for me and laying down wood chips. And now we're gonna have tons of oak chips and firewood to go with it. I'll tell you what we're gonna do with this later because right now I have no clue. Let's move on to something else. What a great way to start a day. Happy Tuesday, everybody. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled day of what we thought was going to happen today. So we just had the first of 4 to 5 truckloads of stone being laid down back on Pine Hollow. So Pine Hollow is the gravel road that we live on, that the nursery is on. We are at the very end. This road, like I just said, my parents have been here since the late 70s. This road has been here since the late 70s. And yeah, it's about a half a mile long road. So we have kind of taken it upon ourselves to do the road maintenance because we're the ones that Jerry has the knowledge and then of course has all the equipment to maintain the road. So you can see that we just got one fresh layer of gravel laid, and that is the thing about having a good truck driver is that he can spread it as he drives and it is thin and Jerry has to do nothing to it. So why are we doing this? Well, one, I mean, it's a gravel road, so every time you have to do maintenance on it. 2, what we're doing is we're using washed stone. So this is just really, he can tell me what number it is, I don't know if it's 57, 65, I don't know what it is. But it's washed stone and we're putting it down nice and thick. So we're starting up past my parents, past our next door neighbors, and laying it down. So yeah, full disclosure, some folks who like to come to the nursery and delivery people, so it's not just about Creekside, it is also about just the everyday delivery people, they think this is like the Indianapolis 500 and they love to fly through here. I mean, absolutely fly. And we are installing and laying down this fresh gravel. 1, it will slow them down, and 2, we're gonna be putting in speed bumps. So when you come to the nursery, please slow down. Y'all, there is no reason to fly. There is literally one way in to Creekside, and there is no other way. So nobody else is ahead of you coming in the back way and gonna beat you to all the plants. If you were worried that people are gonna beat you to the plants, be here when we open at 9 o'clock. But we are doing this to slow people down and for the safety of our neighbors. Our neighbors right here, they have 2 small boys, and you know boys who live in the country, they like to play. Yes, obviously they have been taught not to go in the road, but they are still children, and we want to make sure that they are safe, as is everybody on Pine Hollow, whether you're a visitor and you're walking and you're looking at the gardens or whatever it may be. So, like I said, that is the first of 4 to 5 deliveries. We will know that number once we see how far it goes. And so is it gonna be one driver or multiple drivers? Okay, so there's another driver coming. He did a great job laying that down. It looks really good. Yeah, he is good. So that is an art and a talent to be able to dump that. So if we have time, we'll come back and take another look at the next truck or whatever that comes through, and then we can kind of go up the road and look at it. But I wanted to grab that before that truck got gone. And so now we are up to production, where there are 3 more major activities going on today. Next up on today's list of Creekside fun, you might be looking at this lovely building that we have right here. This little shade, this little structure, this little outpost building. You're like, my gosh, Jenny, what in the world is that? Well, my friends, that is used to be, I shall say, the well covering here at the production facilities at Creekside. So again, my daddy, right? So growing up, for me, when I was growing up, he was a pig farmer. And so this property here used to be where he had all of his hog houses. And so obviously if you have livestock, you've got to have a well. So 32 years ago, he had this well installed, and it has done great. It's done exactly what we needed it to do. It's been wonderful. It has supplied all of the water for here at production for us the entire time that Creekside has had facilities on this property. But then Jerry started noticing in the last week or so that the water pressure was acting really funky. Like it would be strong and then it would go down, and it would take forever for it to kind of come back up. So he had a local company, Morris Jenkins. We've used them quite a bit before. So he had them come out yesterday to take a look at the well. And wouldn't you know, it's going out. And so the pump itself is not going out, but the bladder is going out. What is the bladder? Let me show you. So the bladder is this blue tank. It is what is like holds the water. Y'all, I'm no plumber, but just basically it, right? So it's the tank that holds the water. So you've got the pump that's down here. And so the pump is in this white PVC cavity, right? So it's down, I don't know how deep this well is, but it's down there. So then it pumps it up, and then it goes into the bladder tank and it holds it. You pull from that, and then when the bladder's empty, the pump continues to pump and you get your water. That is a very, very rough overview of how a well works. So when Morris Jenkins was here yesterday, the technician was like, yep, your bladder is gone. And this is evidently a very large bladder. They don't make that size anymore. And so long story short, Morris Jenkins is coming today, and they are going to put in a whole new system, very similar to what we have at our house, because our pump went out whenever that was. And so they're going to put in the same system here, and they're going to go ahead and replace the pump because the pump is 32 years old. While they are here, we're just going to do it all. And so today, once they get here, the nursery will be without water until the end of the day, once they get everything back up and running. So yesterday, being so warm, and then with all the wind, we had to make sure that literally every single plant on the production facilities was very well watered, because thankfully today is cooler, much cooler, so the evaporation process won't happen as quickly, but we won't be able to water anything until they get done today. So that was the covering, the building that went on top of that to insulate it and to protect it. Because we're going to be reducing the tank dramatically, it's a whole different kind of system. I'll explain more later. We can use one of those like really large rocks, you know, the well covering rocks that will go over it. So we don't need the building anymore, which that building was, it was sketchy, my friends. So yeah, so then they're going to be here in just a second and begin that process. So we still have actually 2 more big projects happening today that are kind of quote normal operations here. And then through all of the Creekside chaos today, we're going to take time together as a staff and just share a meal together. So we are being very intentional. Jerry and I were like, you know what? We need to just come together as a staff because spring is tough enough as it is without massive oak trees falling and wells going out. And so we said we were going to come together and have a great meal together today. So that's what we're also going to do that. So it is times like these, my friends, that I absolutely adore our Creekside family because they go with the flow, and whatever you need, they're there. And it is definitely a team family spirit around here, and we are incredibly grateful for them. And so we're going to share a meal. So that's happening. Okay, so let's talk about the other 2 things that are quote normal for this time of year. So the next big project that is on today's list is potting. That is right, my friends. We have got tons of plants that have been waiting to go into their nursery pots so that we can make them available for online customers and then of course our garden center folks. So we have been working feverishly to get everything ready. It's about 10:45 in the morning. And so Jerry and Mimi have just started to pop the plants out of their little cells into the trays. Makes it easier that we can plant faster. So let me show you the setup of what we've been doing the last, I don't know, 2 hours or so. Before we could even think about popping plants out, we had to make all of the pots. So these are the pots for the retail garden center. So there's 250 trays and there's 10 in a tray. So roughly 2,500 plants, right? So that's what we're going to be potting up first to start today and get some of the garden center items ready. So then what we were also doing is, so Brittany and Ariberto were getting all of the plants organized as far as the trays. Like you can see, we have trays everywhere that are ready to be potted. And then Cece and Jackson and some other folks, they were clearing out spaces like this gap right here. I believe that was some kind of verbena. So Jackson took it outside so it can grow outside. So we're trying to make some room for these plants to go. Jerry and Mimi have started to pop out. So right now, like Jerry's working on some Mini Vista White. So he is pulling them out. He has a way of doing it. He has a way of finessing them so he can just like yank them out and stick them in there, because it makes it a lot faster to be able to pull from this than trying to wiggle them out of the tray when the potting line is going. So getting all of them pulled out, you can see just this is the first rack here of what is going on. So because these are going for the garden center, and that means that those plants are being grown in house 1 and 2, which is up the hill. So to work smarter, not harder, we're using our conveyor belts. So what will happen is it will literally come out of the potting machine. We'll get them potted up, we'll get them tagged, and then they will travel along the little conveyor belts up to the greenhouse, and then in the greenhouse, and then at that point somebody will unload them and put them on the ground. So of course, obviously we have to do this in order to keep a beautiful continuous supply of plants for our customers. So there are always plants to be potted up, whether it's an annual or perennial, no matter what it may be, just getting those guys all taken care of and potted up so that they can make their way to their new home with you. So that's what we're going to do, is get all the potting process up, and then probably next on the docket will be lunch, because hopefully it'll be lunchtime soon here. Then we'll move on to shipping, because y'all, shipping is underway big time. My friends, it is 5 o'clock. It feels like it's been forever since I've talked with you. So everything has gone well today, even though we got off to a bit of a bumpy start. It has been a very full day. We are still not done. We've got to add some soil to the hopper. So Jackson and Heriberto are doing their thing and getting that soil in there. We have just a couple of more trays that we had to run today because they were already popped out. So we have water. Jerry was watering things. He's gone off to go do something, I don't know. We had a delicious lunch. Totally did not take a picture. Sorry about that. I think we were all like little ravenous wolves in there. Oh, there he is. See, look at that. We have water. Beautiful water with lots of really good pressure. Cece said the pressure was really, really good. Yeah, so he's watering, we're potting. I was feeding pots through the machine. That's why I could stop for a little bit while they fill up the soil. So we had a great lunch. It was delicious. We gobbled it up. Of course, in the middle of the lunch, you know, a tractor trailer shows up because, of course, why not? And so we did get some shipping done, but the main focus today has been on potting the plants and some other things. So we are almost done with zones 9 and 10. So that's very good. We only have a couple more hundred orders to go for zones 9 and 10. So I think we should knock that out this week and get them out to you. And then we will be on to zone 8 and 7 or whatever 8's next, obviously. But we did get potted up. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about these yet or not, so I'm just going to kind of give you a bit of a wide view of this. But we potted up the new for 2027 annual introductions from Proven Winners. So there you can see the blue tags that says new 2027 intros. There is a coleus, there is a fuchsia, there's 2 calibrachoa, there's a beautiful nemesia that I'm super excited about. There's 2 super bells. I've got some recipes in here, lots of really cool things. Some 2 salvias are going to be super fun. So as soon as I know that I get the green light from Proven Winners to talk about these, we will definitely talk about them. We've had them for quite a little bit of time now, but due to space, we just hadn't got them potted up. So no, they're not in Proven Winner pots because these are not for anybody's consumption except ours here at the nursery, because of course we work very closely with Proven Winners, and so they send us the new introductions for the next year. That way we can grow them as a grower so we know how they grow, and then we put them in our gardens and test them out. So they will be in all the various gardens, depending on what the plant is, and the application of it will depend on where it goes in the garden. So that way, when folks come to the garden center and the nursery, you can see them in the landscape, and we can show them to you, of course, via videos and photography. So very excited about that. So they are up. We don't know where they're gonna go right now. That's why they're sitting on the rack. So once again, we are running out of room, but I'm going to sign off here because Jackson and Heriberto got the soil done, and so I've got to go back and finish up the pots. So tree that came down, we're putting a pin in that. We're going to deal with that another day. The well is fixed, so praise the Lord for that. Shipping got completed for today. So those packages got out today, and we're about to finish up the potting. So I think, oh, and the gravel. Yes, so all the gravel arrived. We ended up doing four trucks, I think. And so, but the last one, I believe, we just had him dumped, so we had a stash of gravel. So once we get those speed bumps put in, then we'll take you back up there. Honestly, y'all, I'm too tired to even go up there right now. We got to finish potting up. So just take my word for it. Lots of fresh gravel. So when you come to Creekside, slow down. You're in the country. We don't do things terribly fast around here unless things are on fire, and then we move with purpose. All right, I meant that figuratively, not literally. Y'all have a great day. We're gonna finish potting, and then I'm gonna go home and take a very hot bath and get some supper. We'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, friends.